What's up, guys? Here for the Week 8 review. Before I get started on reviewing the matchups, I'm just going to have a quick discussion on the trade that everybody was talking about. I was giving up Latavius Murray to Josh for Le'Veon Bell. There was no collusion involved. No conversation prior to me waking up Monday morning with the trade in my inbox. Nothing along those lines. Obviously, I can see everybody's side. I can see where people are coming. I also asked from input from other people outside of our group. Thoughts. I'd probably say roughly 60 to 70% said just to push the trade through. But because I am the commissioner, I have the sole power to do so. And just for I guess like the integrity of the league and trying to keep things even keel and all together, I am not going to push the trade through. I will work with Josh to see if maybe we can make another deal possibly. We'll see how that goes. But I think what's best for the league is to not do it. Although obviously the selfishness inside of me says, hey, fucking do it. You're getting a starting running back that was a first round pick, albeit not hasn't played very good at all. The numbers are even. If you look at their average points per game between Le'Veon Bell and Latavius Murray, it's I think 11.7 to 11.6. Obviously, we know if Kamara gets healthy, which presumably he will after their bye week. He does have a high ankle sprain, but you never know, how things go in fantasy. That's why I'm not really a proponent of vetoing trades. But like I said, I'm not going to push this through. So it's probably going to screw myself, and I'm probably not going to be able to win this year. That would have definitely been a big help for my team. But we'll see how things go. So without further ado, we'll get started with the matchups. First off, we got my matchup versus Fat. Fat won this one 137 to 112. Looking at my team, most of my guys did all right. I didn't get points out of the running backs. I mean, that was the big difference between our matchup. He had McCaffrey and Fournette, with 25 or 26 and 17 points respectively. My two starting running backs had less than 10 points combined between Chase Edmonds, who got hurt in the game. He did have a tough matchup, though, and Sony Michel just, having a Sony Michel game, is same shit every week. Some bright spots. I did have Latavius Murray, who got the start, so of course I played him. 32 points out of him. Had Darren Fells, had a beast mode game, 21 points, so nice play by me there, but nothing else going on in the lineup. Had Panthers defense, who gave up 51 points and still gave me a point in fantasy because they had a safety and an interception. I'm sure they had some sacks and stuff to help out slightly. Nothing on my bench, just some injuries and, guys who didn't play and wouldn't have made any difference. Looking at Fat's team, Wilson played well. I already talked about his running backs. DJ Chark had 17. Kelsey did all right with 14. Pat's defense, once again, coming through, 20 points. They're just absolutely ridiculous. Will be a fun game this week with them and the Ravens, though. Kicker got him 11. He's got a couple receivers on the bench who had double digits. Guys on bye or hurt as well. So, we'll see how things go for the rest of the season. Looking here, next matchup, we got Dalton versus Josh. As expected, Dalton won this one 136 to 105. Jameis came through 19. There's a fuck ton of double-digit points on Dalton's team this week. To point one out, David Montgomery finally had a nice game with 23. So obviously me and Orlando and Dakota got the bet between him and Eckler. Josh has Eckler. Eckler only put up 9, so that'll make things a little closer. At some point, maybe like week 11 or something, I'll total up the points to that point, and so we kind of know where things stand. Everybody else, played pretty well for him. No real explosions outside of Montgomery, but really solid games from majority of his team. Nothing going on the bench. Guys on hurt or on bye. So see how that goes. He should be getting Devontae Adams back soon, I believe, maybe this week. So him and Hopkins be a nice duo there at the top two receiver spots. Looking at Josh's team, Minshew came through at 24. Le'Veon Bell, like Josh said, had a pretty decent matchup. Was supposed to be able to perform and only got 5 points. I almost played his ass in DraftKings, so I'm glad I didn't do that. Obviously, Aaron Jones with a huge game, 38. Had D.D. Westbrook in his lineup, who got hurt. I guess I'm assuming early in the game because he got 0 points. And just nothing else, nothing else out of anybody else. Would have got a couple more points had he played Daniel Jones, but not a big issue there. Nobody else really doing anything on the bench. Next up, we got Michael versus Orlando. Michael won this one pretty easily, 143-101. Aaron Rodgers, big game, 27. Dalvin Cook continues to be one of the best backs in the game with 26. Julian Edelman had 2 touchdowns, 24. Double digits out of the defense, the Vikings, and his kicker. And, just everybody in his lineup, performed, pretty well. Decent points out of everybody. And that's what it takes to win most of the time. At Singletary on the bench, we had 13. Jags defense on the bench was 17. So doing pretty well there. Looking over here at Orlando's team, Goff played well with 23. Stephon Diggs played well with 16. And, kicker did okay. A couple okay games out of some of his guys. Threw Ty Johnson in there. Just didn't really even get the bulk of the workload there. That went to Trey Carson. Chubb, had a little bit of a rough game because he fumbled twice. Other than that, he played well. I don't think he could find the end zone. And, not much else going on in his lineup. Just no big games, outside of his quarterback, really. And that kind of hurts. Looking at his bench, he had Duke Johnson on the bench with 11. Golden Tate on the bench with 13. So could have got a few more points, but wouldn't have made a difference there. Next up, got Phillip versus Garrett number 2. Phillip won this one 138-128. Looking at Garrett number 2's team, Miles Sanders finally had a really nice game with 21. Mike Evans killed it with 37. Cole Beasley got him 12. Double digits out of the defense and the kicker is what you're usually going for. Decided not to play Drew Brees. Drew Brees got 25, so that would have swung the game in his favor had he played Drew Brees over Jacoby Brissett. I don't know if I'm not exactly sure why he wouldn't do that. I'm pretty sure he knew Brees was playing because pretty sure he had Kamara in his lineup until Sunday morning and made that adjustment. So, to each his own. I mean, I definitely would have played it the other way and it would have helped him out. Brissett's been playing pretty well, but he didn't have as easy of a matchup as Drew Brees. So, not really sure, the thought process there necessarily. But moving on, we got Phillips' team. Barkley played well with 24. Cooper Kupp with a huge game with 32. Austin Hooper with a nice game with 16. 18 points out of the defense. That's huge. Really the only sore spot in his lineup, Corey Davis with 2 points. You need a little bit more there. I would say his quarterback too. Kyler Murray's been struggling the past few weeks. Only got him 10. Nothing to speak of really on the bench there. We're going to skip that matchup, hold that one for last. Next, we got John versus Dakota. John won this one very easy, 147-117. Looking at Dakota's team, James Conner with a nice game. Did get hurt, may miss a week or so. I don't think it's serious. Julio Jones with a nice game with 20. Juju had a nice game last night with 19. Couldn't pull off a insane game to bring him back. Brandon Cooks got him 0 points. He obviously got hurt in that game, got a concussion. It's his second one in the past month. So my guess is you got to keep him out at least a few games. I mean, just for his safety. I mean, he hasn't really even been playing that well, but to me, safety is first. So they need to take care of that. Outside of that, not really any sore spots in the lineup, I would say. I thought, he played the Bills defense. I thought Bills defense would do better than what they did, only 3 points. But not a horrible day out of his team. Just went up against a better team this week. Looking at John's team, Deshaun Watson scored 28. You can kick him in the eye and he'll still throw touchdowns. It doesn't fucking matter. Michael Thomas is showing why he's probably he's definitely the most consistent receiver in the game. I mean, week in, week out, he makes like almost at least 8 catches, it seems like. And he's always close to 100 yards, gets a touchdown occasionally. I mean, he's great. If I was building like the perfect team, he would definitely be on it. 22 points out of him. Tyler Williams came back from his injury, had 17. Tevin Coleman with the huge game. I mean, that's really helped put things over the top for John. Had 37. And then nothing on the bench. Some guys on bye week and some injuries. No real sore spots in the lineup. I mean, Eric Ebron got him 4, but I mean, you can't expect a lot out of Eric Ebron, in my opinion. If he doesn't get a touchdown, his point total is going to be low. So, last matchup to talk about here is maybe the closest matchup of the season. I didn't look that up, but it could be. Garrett won this one. It was 104.1. He beat Derek, who had 103.4, so less than a 1-point victory, 0.7 victory. So close-ass game here. Looking at Derek's team, he had Stafford, had 23, good game there. Chris Carson with 15. Kenny Galladay had a huge game with 25. Nothing else really going on there. I mean, looking at his bench here, I mean, there's some changes he could have made that would have given him the win. Whether or not I would have made those changes, it's tough to say. I think he played all the right receivers. I think I would have played any of those guys over McCole Hardman and Danny Amendola, who he had on the bench, who produced better than Landry and Sanu. Maybe I would have played Hardman or Amendola over Ronald Jones. I mean, I'm looking at it after the fact, so I have no clue. Obviously it's close. It's hard to say what decision I would have made. I don't own any of those players, so I don't know where they were ranked, what the expectations were, or anything like that. But tough break there. Looking over here at Garrett's team, Brady played well, 18. Jordan Howard had a nice game with 18. Chris Conley had 18. Double digits out of the kicker and the defense. Seems to be a trend, man. You get double digits out of kicker and defense, you're probably going to win. Did have Jamal Adams on the bench, who had 17, so he could have got some more points there. Not sure really who I would have played him over looking at his lineup, so I think he made the best decisions there. Had some guys hurt, guys on bye week, so it's always good to get a victory there. That wraps it up for the week. I got the new power rankings here. We'll start at the bottom, work our way up. Not a ton of changes from the very top and the very bottom. Usually the changes are occurring in the middle. It's kind of how it's been working out this year. Josh is still at the bottom, followed by Derek. Garrett is in number 10. Garrett number 2 and number 9. I have myself at number 8. Dakota at 7. Dalton at 6. Philip at 5. Orlando at 4. Michael at 3. John at 2, and Fat remains number 1. So that's how things fall out. Obviously, no big trades went on in the NFL today, so nothing to discuss there. I think any trade that happened today was a defensive player. I know Trent Williams is coming back to the Redskins, but even though he's reporting, they're not expecting him to play. Looking at the matchups this week, looks like I'm going to get murdered by Michael. Garrett 2 and Josh's matchup should be close. Fat and Dakota battle it out. Fat's probably going to beat the shit out of him. Probably the only really intriguing matchup of the week is looks like it's going to be Phillip in Orlando, 6-2 and 6-2. Right now the projections are relatively close, so see how things play out. Obviously, some people got people on bye. Going to have to do ad drops over the course of the next few days. Waivers will process tomorrow at noon. Get your bids in. I can't really think of anybody who's should be getting crazy money, but you never know with some of you guys. Best luck to you guys. Hopefully no more trades will need to get vetoed, I guess. And see you guys next time.